I don't know about you, but I've been really enjoying the recent Skybox Metal Universe release. It's my favorite of the non-licensed products that I've ever been aware of. It's got the look and feel of some of my very favorite 90s stuff, plus there's Jordans in there to chase, which is really solid fun, plus a handful of players from other sports that I quite like but have never really been interested in chasing in other products, like a Wayne Gretzky or a Sabrina Ionescu or a Coco Gauff or a Tiger Woods or a few others. Now, I'm not that much of a buying packs or boxes kind of guy, so I've mostly been looking for cool looking cards for good deals on the singles market. And while doing that, one thing I've noticed to be very interesting is how some of the PMGs that are going for more money actually have higher serial number print runs than other PMGs that are cheaper. Like, for example, these are a little bit older sales now, but when the Skybox Metal product was first released, this Gretzky Red PMG out of 150 sold for $215, while just 4 days earlier, a purple PMG out of just 75 had sold for $180. The red one was twice as common, and otherwise it's the same card, but it sold for more. Why? In this video, we're going to look at a few other examples of this phenomenon and explore a bit about why this is not too uncommon. Let's get into this. First, let's look at an example of one of the parallels I've seen this from a few times, Select's tie-dye parallel. This Select Premier level Scotty Barnes tie-dye parallel, numbered out of 25, sold in mid-November for $650. 3 weeks earlier, this gold parallel out of 10 had sold for $407. The tie-dye sold for $243 more, despite the fact that it has a higher print run than the gold parallel. And the gold parallel itself, though I didn't find an example with this particular card, quite often the gold parallel out of 10 will sell for more than something like a green prism out of 5. Demand isn't directly linked to the scarcity of the serial number. The tie-dye number out of 25 has an artistic aesthetic that some people like, and it makes it often sell for more than the gold out of 10, and the gold out of 10 itself can often end up selling for more than the green out of 5. The serial number situation would make you think they'd line up in the opposite direction, but it isn't always the case. To me, the lesson here is that artistic aesthetic is key. All three parallels here are pretty rare, but the deciding factor might just be that the higher serial number variation is just thought to have that cool factor to a higher degree. As Ziggy might put it, it's from a Ferengi mentality, not a Vulcan mentality. The same could probably be said about whatever new hyped up parallel comes out next. The zebra, tiger, peacock, honeycomb, or whatever the next iteration may be, those are the color parallels that get hyped up for a moment, but I don't see that kind of hype sustaining. That being said, I think there's occasions when the higher serial number cards has a chance to always be more valuable than a lower serial numbered card, and that's when it connects to something that is more rooted in a historical narrative. Let's look back at the first example of the Gretzky Skybox Metal PMGs I mentioned earlier. The red PMG out of 150 sold for $215. The purple PMG out of 75 sold for $180. The red PMG, however, has one thing going for it. Red PMGs, as well as green, is what started the whole PMG thing in the first place back in the 90s. The red and green PMGs of Jordan and Kobe are the PMGs of those two players. So in the example of the Gretzky PMG, the fact that the red one is red helps it connect to that original PMG narrative just a little bit better. The purple one doesn't have that. We can see an even more extreme example of the importance of this link to the historical origins of that card if we look at the retro PMGs from this same recent Skybox Metal release. These two retro PMGs, numbered out of 100, sold for $2,400 and $3,100. These two Jordan yellow PMGs, also numbered out of 100, sold for $1,200 and $1,300. They both have the same serial number. They both are just as likely to be pooled. They both are from the same product, but the red one sells for double, even more than double the price. Why? Once again, I would suggest it's because the red retro PMGs look the most like the original PMGs. The yellow ones resemble the original in name only. I guess what I'm saying here is several things. For one, I don't think the scarcity of the serial numbered card by itself tells you enough. Each card has its own narrative. Each parallel has its own market, its own unique forces of supply and demand. You can't go buying a card numbered out of 5 and expect its market value to be some percentage higher than the other card numbered out of 10 or 25 or whatever. It doesn't work that way. You also can't comp out a card using calculating eBay previous sales using parallels that have different markets. A lot of people try to do that when pricing more scarce parallels, but it really isn't quite so straightforward as that. Market values of cards aren't linear like that. Another thought that comes to mind from this is the importance of not getting caught up in passing fads. A tie-dye parallel or a tiger stripe, zebra stripe, whatever, is a product of a momentary hype. If all you're looking to do is take advantage of momentary hype, then go for it, do your thing. But just keep in mind that it's not founded on anything long-lasting. I think that in the current environment where color parallels have become overdone to an extreme degree, these kinds of temporarily hyped parallels are destined to fall significantly long-term. There's just too many parallels, and I don't see these ones as being the ones that'll last through the years if any of them were to last. I would think that the ones that have a better chance to last through the years and maintain a better long-term value would be those that have some sort of historical connection to something that has strong roots, strong origins. Gold parallels, for example, have been around since parallels first began to be a common thing. I think they have historical origins that make them more likely to still be sought and relevant and collected in the future when people look back at this age of color parallel explosion. Those ones I think will still stand out. They'll still have more of a demand, I think, once the passing fads have finished. Silver parallels too, as far as unnumbered parallels go, I think they are more common nowadays, but they also cut through some of the noise in a card environment that has too many color parallels. So personally, I think, as far as real expensive stuff, I think golds make more sense. And from the cheaper end of the color parallel, I think silvers make the most sense because these two kind of cut through the noise. I find them to be safer than like temporarily hyped up kinds of stuff. But that's just my take on this. As I say with a lot of the videos about my take on these things, I could be totally wrong. But let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this, and if there's any color parallels that you think kind of will cut through the noise and will have a market, a relevance in the card collecting community in a more long-term way. But for now, I'm out. Catch you next one. Peace.